Welcome back. Thanks for joining me this Sunday night. So much news going on all the time. So much news, so little time. We have a lot to discuss. And I think for Illinoisans, I mean, and it's specifically Chicagoans, obviously what's happening on the streets of Chicago is a big, big issue and something that needs to be solved. And, we've got Pritzker out there grandstanding, as I had already mentioned, in a number of cases. Talking about ICE agents as Nazis and fanning the flames of disgruntlement. And then you've got this really, long form article by the Chicago Tribune, Chill the Hell Out. Chicago police find themselves in difficult spots as wave of federal immigration enforcement continues. And this is just an article that literally goes on and on about Chicago police have found themselves in a curious position as the Trump administration's Operation Midway Bliss has rolled out across Chicago. By the way, I don't think it's ending anytime soon. On at least two occasions in Brighton Park and the East Side, CPD personnel responding to standoffs between neighbors and federal agents have found themselves tear-gassed alongside residents as agents react to thrown objects and shouted insults. In one particular case, apparently said, chill the hell out, which is obviously where they got the title from. One officer said to the federal agents, this is what Tribune reported, someone throwing something at you might hurt you, but it's not going to kill you. Well, to talk about this and so much more is my friend Martin Preib. He's a retired Chicago Police Department official, officer, detective, and he writes at his Substack is Crooked City and writes about police issues and much, much more. Martin, thanks so much for joining me. Just tell me, what's your initial feeling about these long articles from the Tribune about chill the hell out and what's going on the ground and what the police are up against?
Well, I think that's kind of a Tribune warning to the Chicago cops who the Tribune has been unfairly vilifying for several decades. It's kind of a warning that they consider, the Chicago cops, they don't want them getting involved or helping the feds. They want to keep the feds isolated and vilified. And I think that I kind of took that article and their general response to keeping the local police departments under their control. I think a lot of cops sympathize with the ICE. A lot of cops don't. But when ICE is being attacked, I think the police should naturally respond and should be encouraged to respond. But that just kind of shows you how much Chicago is in the camp of the radical left. I don't think there's a city in America more entrenched with the radical left than Chicago.
Well, I think it all started here, quite frankly, the radical left. I think this is their base camp,
Me too.
From Bill Ayers to Barack Obama. I think this is, ground zero for the radical left operations.
I agree, and I think they sort of take pride in keeping this in their camp, and they're very militant. It's very dangerous times, I feel. I mean, I think these people. I'm feared that these people are going to get a lot more violent.
Well, it appears that way. Now, Pritzker wants to deny that, that he doesn't want troops on the ground or anything like that. But at this point, he has had to deploy his own state police to get things under control. What does that tell you about what's going on?
Well, I think he's beholden to the radical left, but he also knows that you need police for order. So he's kind of spinning a web here that, it's not going to be easy for him to get out of. At some point, we need order on the streets, and the people who are sort of pulling his strings are willing to take things quite far. Mm-hmm. But he needs some order. I mean, he's put himself in a bad position. I think that even people who don't like Trump or like ICE and stuff look at the governor and the mayor of Chicago and see how incompetent they are and how, unthought out, how they have no policy. They don't really seem to know what they're talking about or what they want to do. And they're showing themselves to be quite poor leaders.
Well, they think but they think they're leaders. I mean, you've got Pritzker's ICE Accountability Commission now. Is this leadership? And then, what about Lightfoot's, the ICE Accountability Project? So we have a commission and we have a project. and we're going to document everything that's going on. We're going to look at, how they're dressed, put out any identifying information. We're going to try and unmask these federal agents. That's according to Lightfoot. They've remained anonymous. Well, why should everybody know who they are?
Well, this gets back to what you said about Ayers, and I'll go back. What they've been doing since the late 60s is criminalizing the police. And they're very good at it, and they very quickly create commissions and policies and rules to entrap the police and keep the police from doing their job. They did it to Chicago. They've done it in a lot of big cities. They did it with their Soros prosecutors. Like Kim Foxx spent more time looking for ways to attack police officers all the time she's letting out convicted murderers and rapists. So this is their standard ploy now. Is that when Lightfoot ran COPA or OPS, the police oversight agency, she was firing cops on the most trumped up, ridiculous allegations, destroyed morale, made it difficult for cops to do basic police work. So all the stuff they're doing now is straight out of their playbook, 100% out of their playbook. And I would tell you this: if the Dems were to take control pretty soon, I could see them going after a lot of these ICE guys. I really think that if they repoliticized the DOJ the way they did under Biden and Obama, I could see them trumping up charges against these guys, and that's a real concern I have.
Yeah, so it could. We don't even have to wait for 2028. If they were to actually win Congress, for example, in 2026, they could start up their own commissions, investigations, hearings on what ICE agents are. Call these people on the carpet, have them subpoenaed, do whatever they could to expose these ICE agents who they think are acting badly. But let's get down to the street level. Are the actions by the ICE agents overly aggressive? I've watched your X account. You've posted quite a few interactions that ICE is having, throwing people to the ground, handcuffing them. You're following this pretty closely. You're formerly a police officer. Is ICE out of hand?
Oh, it's a very good question, and I'm trying to look at that, but I think that this country was faced with an emergency situation when they opened up the southern border and let these criminal cartels control it. Mm-hmm. And the damage has been so bad and so catastrophic, to correct it, they've had not a lot of time to hire and train. So I am concerned. Do we have the best guys? This is all happening so fast. But I do think it's necessary to address this catastrophe, this invasion that Biden allowed. And I think Trump is right about the threat they pose. But, I have concerns about, are these guys properly trained? And it's just something we have to keep an eye out. But, the people involved here, they have rights to address the grievance they think they've been treated, unfairly or illegally. But it is a concern, and I guess that's the best way I can answer it.
Okay, but it is. It's very disturbing to a lot of people. They look at these and the videos and like, well, that was a little bit aggressive in reaction. And then, of course, you have the quote from the officer. Chill the hell out, almost like we get stuff thrown at us all the time as Chicago police. Remember the violence that happened over the Columbus statue in 2020. That was quite a show of violence against the police. So I guess Chicago police are sort of used to this rioting. It doesn't mean that it's acceptable. It doesn't mean that it's right. And let's face it, at the end of the day, if they simply would not harbor the criminal illegals, much of this would go away.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, what's 400,000? I don't know, the drastic number of youth have been poisoned by the fentanyl that's pouring through, the gangs that are flooding the country, the horrible things these cartels did to the women they smuggled over. I mean, it just goes all over the place. And you're absolutely right. This was created by the Biden administration, opening up the border. And I can't say it's going to be a real smooth remedy because it's a massive, complicated problem, but it has to be resolved. And, I just find that these people are so upset about a lot of the ICE imagery, but, I have to say, where were they when, all these women would get raped crossing the border, and they have to pay all this money, and the cartels are flooding in all these gang members who are, what about all the victims they created,
No doubt. I mean, you can just go to CWB Chicago too, and they'll keep
Right.
you busy reading about all the crime that's still going on in Chicago that apparently they don't care to take care of either. I think the brutality of the woman who got punched out on the street, knocked out cold, and the guy had been on the streets mentally ill for a long time, and nobody's doing anything. All right, so much more to discuss, but I want to thank you for joining me on The Real Story. Martin Preib, Crooked City is his Substack. I encourage you to follow him. Thanks so much, Martin. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you kindly. Have a good night.
You too. Okay, we'll be right back.